Little shorty who has no appearance and no personality has to admit to himself, I could never have this. And if I got this, I'm going to have to share it. He's got to be practical, he's got to be fair, and admit that. Now we begin from there. In other words, he destroys, he obliterates, he kills any iota of jealousy in his being. It'll kill him. He eliminates any notion of fair competition in his mind. It'll kill him. He eliminates and destroys any hope of the gods to intervene on his behalf. It'll kill him. Let's begin with that. I could never have this. He knows most women, if he's fortunate enough to survive socially in their presence because of the way he looks, visually, in other words, if they're seen together publicly, especially if she's taller than him, looks much better than him, younger, more desirable, every woman will not look good socially in the presence of a short little man. We have no appearance and no personality. He's got to start off with the worst case scenario and then build himself up from there. That's when, once he admits that, once he makes that admission to himself, I could never have this, then the next step is custom motto. His great question, why shouldn't you have this? And each short, small man with no appearance and no personality, he's going to have to answer that question for himself. He's going to have to figure out strategies, plans, action plans, behaviors to put himself in a position. His safety and effectiveness come first. With that in mind, he's got to be in tremendous shape. When he hits the iron room, he's got to forget genetics. He's got to forget constitutional conditioning factors, temperament. He's got to forget all the negatives. It's just him in that gym with those iron on a day-to-day personal struggle. And little by little, crawling, inching, fighting the battle against himself to come back. He'll start gaining ground. He'll start developing viability, confidence, credibility. He's going to have to fight for every bit of it. And he has to understand he must live his life vicarious pretense. But an active vicarious pretense, not a stupid vicarious pretense. And if he makes any gain along the way of approaching socially and surviving in the presence of a sexually, physically desirable woman, And if he survives today, he survived 30 seconds. Tomorrow, maybe a minute or two. And he is grateful for that. He doesn't compare himself to his better appearing personality, social skilled competitor out there. He's got to realize and recognize the only one he's competing with is himself. So he has to monitor and can be in complete control of the progress he's making at every moment. But the key is he has to be tested out for skills, for performance ability by someone who knows what they're looking for, who knows how to give him a brutally hard, realistic evaluation. And he's only looking for one thing and one thing only: the cold, hard factum brutum. And he has to embrace that. He has to love it. He has to want it, no matter how much it condemns him. He loves the condemnation of the facts. He loves it when the facts expose him and show him how ridiculous looking he is, how ridiculous he's behaving, and demonstrating to him beyond any of a shadow of a doubt. 1,000 Frenchmen can't be wrong when his opponents, his adversaries out there, and everybody's an opponent and everybody's an adversary of the short, small man because of the way he looks visually. Once he recognizes that and admits it to himself, he realizes he's got only one other chance. He must develop his body and his mind to the maximum he can do it, and then some. It's called compensation, but not just righteous compensation. That means positive thinking about himself and positive affirmations, and Stolz is often missed. Wer will nem subsist. This means confidence is in the mist, it's on the ground. Anybody can pick it up. Anybody can positive think himself into confidence. That's bullshit. He has to recognize every ounce of the confidence that he needs to survive out there. He has to earn in a hot cauldron. He has to cauterize it in a hot cauldron. He's the one who has to crawl through 500 yards of pure shit. And by that I mean the harassments, the mockeries, there is like a guard, big, powerful guard that says to the little shorty, you can't come in here. You can't have this. You too ugly. You too short. You're so foolish to look at. Why are you so foolish? Why are you so gullible? Why are you so silly? Why are you so stupid? And the guard throws him out. He tries to come in. God throws him out in the worst possible. He comes crashing to the ground. He tries to get in. God throws him out. And once the guard throws him down enough times, he's going to realize only he can pick himself back up again. And but Humpty Dumpty fell down and broke up. He's got to get up and put the pieces back together again, totally, on his own self-supports and self-sufficiency. That's why I love hardcore Gestalt. That's why I love Fritz Perls. Get that man, particularly the short, small man. Get him on his own self-supports as fast as possible. Don't coddle him. You'll kill him. It's as brutal, it's as tough, it's as hard, it's as ruthless as I'm describing it right here, and worse. He's got to understand no woman will come to the short, small man unless she's also a plain, woman who looks like a shorty. She's also a short woman, tiny woman, and mostly vulnerable and desperate. Maybe she's been rebuffed by your jock or your TDH, the more desirable man to the shorty. And she's coming off a rebound. The shorty is better than nothing. Shorty has to realize this. And if he's short, fat, and dumpy, he's out of shape, he's got gross features, large features, and he looks doofus and foolish. And socially, with most women, they're not an item. They don't look good together. She's embarrassed to be in his presence socially. And it's understandable. I don't blame her. That leaves only one alternative, short man. Particularly if your proportions are bad. Drive iron hard, but do it right. Learn street fighting skills and do it right. That's custom made to your limitations. Know your limitations. Be practical and realistic with everything. Don't be in the business of buying daydreams and fantasies. Truly, the short, small man who's out proportioned, he's got a big fat belly like me and a big head and big face. Truly, this man has to pick himself up by his own bootstraps or spiral down and die.